Time major villains, you just knew that they'd do it in style.
We'll live to fight another day.
What a sad story.
He's just been a nasty bit of goods from day one.
She was petrified to leave him.
Trevor loved little Mo, but in a mad, psychotic way.
He's gone to hell where he belongs, just like the devil itself.
Good. Burn him.
As little Mo was held hostage in a burning inferno by her abusive husband Trevor, a nation was on the edge of its seats. But what about Casey Ainsworth and Alex Ferns, the two actors who played the central protagonists in what was a very explosive piece of drama?
As I was reading it, I was screaming at the page, so I hope people will be screaming at the screen going, "Don't go in there!"
What are you doing? Trevor, stop it! Oh, no, God, please help me, help me, help me!
I'm incredibly proud of all the stuff we did in the two-hander. I mean, we worked bloody hard for that. You're mine!
No, I'm not. I'm not yours, I'm not Billy's, I'm not anybody's, I'm just me, and I've got as much right to be happy as anyone else, and I am not letting this happen anymore.
Sit down!
No! I said sit down!
When you've got a 20-page scene and there's no break in between it, I mean, you know, you've got to know what you're doing.
Say when the smoke's right, please, Emma. Is everybody set? Thank you.
Some barbecue sauce for this boy.
All right, chaps? Yeah. Okay.
I'm a fire starter, twisted fire starter.
Action!
You're a fire starter, twisted fire starter.
Whoa!
Trevor was one of soap's most infamous villains, so let's take a look at why he was so good at being so bad.
Nice to see you again, Billy boy. I'm gonna tear you apart. Yeah? Your damage goods, darling.
Alex is such a good villain. He's just I don't think there's been anyone better than him in the history of soaps.
He's totally unpredictable, and he's just got this nutty look in his eye, and he just plays the part so brilliantly.
You're skating on very thin ice here, woman.
If you want to know where he is, you're going to have to do me a little favour. You're going to come clean about what you did to Mo.
I've got to do you a little favour. I could think of a few things I'd rather do.
Alex is nothing like Trevor. He's a big softy, like a teddy bear. He's a family man, where Trevor's just an horrible git.
We're actually demonic, nutcase psychopath. There's no one can touch him.
I think he's the best villain I've ever seen on TV.
You never did like the lightning, did you?
Oh, you done then?
For now.
How was it? Oh, Trevor. I didn't think you meant it. Oh. Sorry, I've got one in here somewhere.
It's all right. I'll use my sleeve.
Trevor works as a villain because he isn't a crook. He's just somebody who's dangerous. It's the qualities about him. It's the charisma, it's the menace. It's attractive and repulsive at the same time.
He's a real nasty bit of goods. And I never liked him from day one, so, you know, the least we say about him, the better.
Before we go behind the scenes to see how the special effects teams created Trevor's fiery demise, let's actually have a look at how the characters Little Mo and Trevor were created.
The guy who was running the improvs is a director called Kenny Glennon.
I did an improvisation with Little Mo, with her character, where I played her husband.
He said to me, right, nothing you do is right, but you've got to not allow me to leave the room.
What came out just by chance and very organically was this story of kind of domestic slavery in a way.
I suddenly went from, because I'm quite sort of bubbly and strident, I suddenly went from that to really going in my shell, and I think that's where Little Mo started.
Dinner's getting round.
Listen, I better go. I'll talk to you later. Bye.
And it was only by chance that Alex Ferns was ever cast as Trevor.
The casting director suggested that maybe it would be good if I could play the part, but the dates didn't work out. I was in the middle of prepping a film and they had to find someone else, and they found Alex Ferns, a real good-looking dude, much better looking than me.
The combination of that beautiful accent with the undertone of menace was lethally frightening.
Upstairs.
Why?
I don't want to have to ask you twice. Or do you want me to lose my temper? I was in a bad mood when I went for the audition, because I hadn't had a job in a while. And then about 2 days later, I got the call to say, yeah, you've got to be on set, and that was it.
Trevor, what are you doing here?
I've come to take you home.
No. No, you can't.
Come on.
You touch me and I'll scream. I actually asked to meet Alex before we started because the first scenes we did were sort of like in a domestic situation, and it's really weird when someone turns up on set 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock when you start turning over and says, oh, hi, I'm your husband, and I have been for the last 6 years.
I was a bit worried about taking on the role of a wife beater, and because, well, I mean, who wouldn't be? You're getting me angry.
As we all know, moments of happiness are few and far between for Little Mo, and not long after moving to Albert Square, Trevor's abusive relationship with her was revealed.
My God. Mo.
Little Mo just wants to make it work. Trevor wants to make it work, but on his terms. And unfortunately, his terms include controlling her and keeping her under a thumb. I'm dying here. If you don't come back, I'm gonna kill myself. Because I do think he loves her, you know, so when it comes to that loving side of him, I think that really is there. It's just a love that's completely misplaced and obsessive. You see, our love's an old love. It's a real love.
No, get away from me.
Come on. Just one more time.
No, no!
And I think little Mo thought, no, I'll make it work this time. It'll be all right. It'll be all right this time. Kept forgiving. Kept going back.
Look, Trevor, if you're going to be...
Do yourself a favour, Mo. Shut your mouth.
I think little Mo stayed with Trevor, really and truly, because she was frightened of him.
Oh, that's nice. We have a lovely day and then you go and spoil it by talking about that worm.
Oh, I'm sorry, Trevor.
Oh, that's all right. No more talk about Billy. And no more talk about the family. From now on, it's just you and me, sweetheart.
I think whenever you're in a relationship with someone, you hope for the best. If your partner's ever betrayed you in any way and has said they're sorry and they'll never do it again, you want to believe them because you've invested so much in that relationship. So it becomes a very grey area. And I think she always believed that he would return to the sort of character he was when she first met him. As long as you get better, I'll give it another go.
It's just you and me, all right?
Guess what I've been doing?
I give up.
Sorting out a certain person's anniversary present.
Which is?
You'll have to wait and see. You'll have a good look.
All right, I'm not going to tell you what I'm getting you.
Oh, yeah?
It's a surprise.
I don't know what to say. You could be really lovely when you want.
So there was an attractive side to Trevor, and Little Mo wasn't the only person to fall for his charms.
If a man has a reputation for being bad or dangerous, in a way that's always attractive.
I don't know what's made Trevor appealing to the opposite sex. I mean, he said, who's had affairs with? Donna, Little Mo, and Sam Mitchell.
Get in the bedroom. Oh, no, he'll see you. Get behind the settee. Trevor, just do it.
He's just so charming. He's a good-looking guy. And I think one of Trevor's kind of qualities is that he works out what it is about somebody that makes them tick.
He's old-fashioned, he's romantic, he's courteous, all that side of things. But at the same time, he's also very vulnerable. He can sometimes have a little boy appeal. And those two things together, I think, are virtually irresistible.
But we all know that Trevor's dark side was never far away.
Why don't I believe you?
Look, just don't ask me anymore.
I want the truth,
Look,
Mo.
I can't. I'm sorry. I wish I could, but I can't. It's a family thing. It's
family. Huh? It's always family. Family, family, family. I'm your husband. Does that not count for anything?
If you're going to take an issue like this, which affects so many people, you have to be truthful and you have to get it right. You can't sensationalise it and you can't trivialise it.
The statistics did shock me. I mean, I just couldn't believe that, you know, that it occurred so often, you know.
I had a fight with the ironing board.
Let me see.
One of the leading campaigners in the areas of domestic violence actually said recently that EastEnders has done more for this subject in one storyline than she's done in 15 years, which is a tremendous compliment for us, and we're very proud of that.
One of the first things that people will say to me, why did she stay with him? And I totally understand why. I'm not saying it's right, I'm just saying I understand why.
We're your family and we're concerned about you. And apart from anything else, it's us that has to pick up the pieces every time you and Trevor fall apart.
But you don't know him.
Oh, come on, Mo. It's only because we do know the pig that we're also worried about you.
You see? That's what I mean. You don't know nothing. You call him names. You think you do, but you don't know nothing.
People refuse to believe what is so obvious. The person isn't going to change, and constantly go back, constantly, because it's that thing of you've been made to feel so kind of worthless that you only feel any kind of sense of worth is when that person is giving you that kind of affirmation. What do you fancy? I'll get you anything you want, you deserve it.
Oh, I didn't do nothing.
You were there for me. I'm tired of messing up, Mo. I lost you because of my temper.
You haven't lost me. She let him back into her life because she believed he would change. She believed it was the last time. And then what eventually happens is he would convince her that it was actually her fault, and there was a part of her that would believe that too.
You dozy girl. You were in the last 2 minutes without me. Look at you. Look at the state of you. Nobody in his right mind would go near you, you miserable bitch.
Maybe if that's the only love that you've had in that kind of, in a relationship sense, that's what you think everybody has. And it's the same for everybody else. And I think he made her believe that.
They had periods that were wonderful. Periods of time that were great, enjoyable, and they could forget all what's happened. And then these absolutely abysmal, very, very dark times.
It's not been easy for Casey and Alex portraying the violence and menace in their scenes.
The worst scene for me was, we keep going on about it, Casey and I, is the Christmas dinner scene where I had to shove her face in the Christmas dinner and then make her eat it off the floor. I mean, you know, it just doesn't get more kind of, it just doesn't get more degrading than that, really, does it? Oh, come on, eat up. I said it! What's wrong? Huh? You're not hungry?
Alex was so shocked when he pulled my head out of the dinner that I was so covered in the gravy that he actually lost his lines for a little bit.
What's the matter, sweetheart? It's not good as your gran makes it. I've never shoved anyone's face in a plate of food before, and when I pulled her hair up like that, and her face was there with all the gravy dripping off, and she was, it was hard to take. And making her eat the food off the floor, I mean, it's crazy.
On the domestic violence storyline for both Alex and I, the rape scene was appalling to film.
There you go. You look beautiful.
EastEnders is out at the watershed, so you have to be very careful about what you do, and you want to portray it properly, but also you can't be too violent or too graphic.
Well, I'm gonna have to teach you a lesson.
It's a difficult one to answer why anyone would rape someone. I think rape is about control, and that's a personal opinion. It's about control and power over somebody.
She started to fight back against him, and it was the only way he could keep her under control. Better clean yourself up, eh? Look a bit of a mess.
Raping little Mo was horrific, and when Trevor came back for more, she finally snapped.
You're not going anywhere. You're not going anywhere ever. Do you understand? Because I'm mine! You always will be mine, eh? Am I right? Am I right? I can't hear you!
She thought he was going to rape her again, and I don't think she could handle that. She'd had a bit of time away from him, and therefore she'd got a kernel of strength, and she just snapped.
The iron scene is like, you know, I mean, it's part of popular culture now, isn't it, in the UK? Because, I mean, everyone remembers it.
You think you're going to change? Huh? You think you can end it? Well, you're wrong. You want to know why? Because you'll love it.
It was the last straw. It was the absolute last straw. Just when she thought everything was going well, here he is at the house, and it just spiraled. The baby was upstairs. You know, I think little Mo's protective instincts came into it, and I think she just actually decided that's enough.
That was the limit. You know, that split second, that was there, that she was going to go, Bosh, I'm going to do you now. And by God, did she.
Although it was shocking, I think there was quite a huge percentage of the country who were like, go on, girl, you know, fight back, as it were.
So after little Mo stood up to Trevor, it wasn't long before she was having to stand up to a jury.
On the 31st of December 2001, you attempted to murder Trevor Morgan. Are you guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
I think Trevor wanted her, yeah, he wanted to bring little Mo to her knees. By taking her to court, he thought he could punish her.
Again, it's a power and control thing. You know, he was in control of all the cards, and he manipulated the courtroom as much as anything else.
She told me she doesn't love me anymore. And that's when she came at me with the iron. Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't think he thought it'd go that far. I really don't. Because again, they've both lived in this fantasy world where you say sorry and everything is over.
Do you find the defendant, Maureen Morgan, guilty or not guilty of attempted murder?
Guilty.
No! No!
When I read the scripts about the outcome with Little Mo and Trevor at the trial, I was really angry. I wasn't surprised, I was really cross. I had a bit of a kick-off about it. I was going, this is ridiculous, this is sending out the wrong message. I was putting Little Mo's case forward, but they had a lot of research into what happens to people who do take the law into their own hands. And unfortunately, this is the outcome.
There has been one man who's stuck by little Mo through thick and thin, and that's Billy Mitchell.
When Mo first came onto the square, and he was definite attraction straight away.
What's a beautiful girl like you doing in here?
I'm not beautiful.
I think with Little Mo, I think she's just surprised that anybody would fancy her.
Nobody's ever called me beautiful before.
But you are.
Mo's always thought of him as being the confidant and a really good friend, and somebody who she, you know, a good male friend who will tell her whatnot, and also somebody away from her family, because they've got a hell of a lot in common. Both done a bit of time now, anyway.
She has had such a lot of trouble and pain and everything, you know. How does somebody recover from all that? And I think Billy's the answer, you know. He's perfect, he's there for her.
See, you're so clever, Billy. Not like me. I'm just a muddlewid. That's what Trevor says anyway.
Yeah? Well, he's wrong. I think he thinks, yeah, she'll be nice. We could make a nice little home together and have little Bills and little Mo's, little Mo's, even.
They've already got this lovely relationship going on, so I think that's just going to build and expand. And I also think there's a lot of comedy to be had between them, because they're both Muppets at times.
I thought you could call him Bex. Keep posh company.
I think she likes him already.
I'm really excited about becoming a Mitchell. I think that's fantastic. I always wanted to become a Mitchell.
Maureen Slater, would you make me the happiest man in the whole wide world by consenting to be my wife?
While Mrs. Morgan was made up about becoming Mrs. Mitchell, Mr. Morgan was mighty miffed.
Well, I think Trevor, you know, whenever he saw Billy and little Mo together, it was, I I think there was kind of a jealousy there as well, because maybe he saw something that he couldn't give her, that kind of softer side and that sort of thing.
He couldn't believe that little Mo wouldn't come back, right up to the last bit. And he says to Billy, I know she sent you around here to tell me that she wants to come back and all that. I mean, he seriously believed that, Trevor, that, you know, she wanted to come back, but she didn't.
To whatever the future may hold.
Unable to control his jealousy, Trevor took some drastic action.
Trevor took little Mo hostage because he was going to kill her. He was going to kill himself. He was going to kill himself and little Mo and Sean at the same time. All three of them together in the one room.
Remember? Do you remember what I said I would date you if you ever went with somebody else? Do you?
You said you'd kill me.
Trevor had to have his comeuppance, I think. When somebody's been that bad, the audience were cheering. They wanted to see something really dreadful happen to him.
I mean, there was only one way to go with the character, and that was to kill him off, because, you know, as I say, I'm not the kind of guy who's going to, you know, the kind of person who's going to stay at EastEnders and have a kind of reformed character and, you know, happily sell fruit in the market.
There was one review which actually said EastEnders would be mad to get rid of Trevor because he's one of the best villains we've ever had. And I would agree with that. Unfortunately, we felt the story demanded it. And there comes a time when you say what's truthful to the story, what's truthful to the character, that has to be more important.
The blaze may have only lasted seconds on screen, but it took months to prepare and over a week to film. EastEnders Reveal sent our cameras backstage to see how it was all done.
Mo! It's going well. It's it feels a bit weird. It's the last day, so yeah, it does feel weird, but it's going well. It's a bit. You see all the firemen and all that, so it's a bit. It can be a bit hairy. Basically, what we're doing is all the kind of Trevor stuck in the room, fire burning on the landing. The whole house is going up basically. Tom, the fireman, comes in, eventually breaks in.
It's just warm with the heat. Now stand back. I'm gonna kick it in.
By that stage, the fire's already reaching the petrol can. There's enough air inside the house for it to explode. And goodbye, Tom and Trevor.
Walford's had its fair share of explosions and fires over the years. Who could forget the demise of Steve Owen? The man behind them all is Tony Auger.
I've had about 4 days altogether, most of which were spent actually flame-proofing anything that's on the set, but it should be fireproofed. All the actors' clothing, all the bedding on the beds, the furniture, and basically everything, carpets, all have to be fireproofed. So only stuff that we want to burn will burn.
Yes, flame.
As soon as the word stunt is mentioned, you know, you can just see actors going, I'll do my own stunts, I'll show them all. But, you know, you can.
Obviously, the artist's face needs to be seen on screen, but there are certain situations where you're going to see the back of an actor or the side of, or in this case, little Mo under a blanket. And where it is not safe for the actor, then it is the stunt double.
Action!
It was Casey who had to do most of the kind of stunts, so... And I was like, on you go, darling, go on. Run through some flames.
These two actors have been brilliant. They put in exceptional circumstances, and considering that they've got their dialogue to do, to scream, to shout, and take on the physical role as well. I mean, I think the director's really, really happy because we've got away with a lot more than we would do normally.
There was a couple of things we did which were a bit terrifying, to say the least. You know, the one scene where Tom breaks the door down and comes in and grabs me and takes me out. I mean, we had to go through, you know, there was no way stunt doubles could do that. So we had to do that. So that was a bit interesting.
Can you stand?
I can't see straight.
You're lucky to be alive, man.
We'll live to fight another day.
actually very, very scary, and what you get is a complete respect for firemen instantaneously, because suddenly you go, oh, that's frightening.
And for safety reasons, it's vital to block through the shot before going for a take.
No, come on.
Yeah, but what about if the fire...
It's fine, it's not too bad. Come on.
Okay, okay, I'm ready, I'm ready.
Right side of the stairs, yeah?
The exterior shots of the house fire were filmed late at night and involved virtually the entire cast.
Couldn't have happened to a nicer bunch of people.
My main thought was, do I get a whole new round of costumes? Or a new wig?
The person responsible for bringing the script to life is director Emma Bridgman-Williams.
We are going to be mortaring debris over you as would happen, which will obviously be rubber glass and so forth, which won't do any damage. You ready?
Yeah, we're live.
And action!
Filming the fire scenes outside where we blew out the front window were, for me, the most exciting moment of my career so far. The way that we achieved that was to film, first of all, the windows blowing out, but with nobody standing there. What we then did was a shot of everybody standing there without the windows blowing out, and then digitally stick the two together. I've watched the tape hundreds of times and I still can't see the join. The buzz is like nothing else I've ever done in my life.
That's fantastic. Actually, this is something with James Cagney, isn't it? Top of the world mark and all that sort of thing. It's kind of... I think it's great. It's a great ending. What a way to go.
I'm really going to miss this character, you know, because it's a one chance, you know, to play someone who's completely off his rocker. And, yeah, I'll miss him.
It is really sad because we work so well together and it's been such a brilliant experience. It's one of those things that just sometimes happens. You get a really good rapport with somebody who you work with, and I've had it a few times in the past, and it's great when that happens. Don't listen to a word he says. It's horrible. It's not very attractive today.
Yeah, it says you in your lime green dressing gown.
That's this Donald Tyndon's dressing gown, I'll have you know.
Trevor Morgan's destined to be consigned to Walford's Wicked Hall of Fame. He may not be missed, but he certainly won't be forgotten.
We'll live to fight another day.
Thank you for the past 2 years. Thank you very much.